Arizona State playing in their second to last game of the season tonight. Coach Kenny Dillingham reuniting with his former team, the Oregon Ducks, and the Ducks took this one by a mile, 49-13, the final score here in Tempe. Paul Schultz along with Tucker Sennett for the Inferno Intel postgame show. And Tucker, Kenny talked about in his postgame press conference, he thought this team very well could win or go to the national championship in the Oregon Ducks. Your thoughts on that comment and their performance tonight?
Well, he's not wrong, Paul. This is a high-quality Pac-12 team that, with the one loss, is very much still in the playoff hunt, and Arizona State learned that tonight. This is a team that needs to make a statement in these last 2 weeks, and boy, did they make a statement, especially on the offensive end tonight. It was just, from the jump, an all-around impressive performance by the Oregon Ducks offense, especially Heisman favorite Bo Nix, quarterback. He was phenomenal. Tied a school record for passing touchdowns. In the first half, he tied that record with 6. That record was set by several Oregon quarterbacks, but most recently Justin Herbert in a double overtime game against the California Golden Bears in 2016. Nix was excellent, just taking advantage of really impressive talent at the receiver and tight end position, especially tight end Patrick Herbert, who had a pair of touchdowns, I want to say in the first quarter, and Herbert was excellent. Troy Franklin, likely a NFL first-round pick, also excellent. Just an all-around impressive performance by that Oregon offense.
You mentioned how great Bo Nix was tonight at that quarterback position. ASU been struggling for weeks and pretty much all season long with stability at that quarterback position. Cam Scadaboo tried to air it out a couple times, didn't work so well. ASU's offense just not able to get it going the way they wanted it to.
No, it was quite frankly a mess on the offensive end. Just ugly. Scadaboo, they tried to run some of that fun, exotic stuff that they ran against UCLA and Washington State, and it just wasn't there tonight. He completed a screen pass to Conyers that I believe went for 31 yards, and that was it. A lot of the offense seemed predicated on Scadaboo making big-time throws, and you have to wonder if Oregon sort of knew what was coming based off the last few weeks. ASU's caught a lot of teams by surprise with some of this very different offense, and Oregon just seemed so ready for it. It was just... They read the plays like a book. Whether or not that has anything to do with Kenny Dillingham being their old offensive coordinator remains to be seen. You know, obviously there's definitely some influence that has come here, but you can't blame that. You still have to execute, and that was more or less what Dillingham said after the game was execution loses the game. Dillingham also talked about big people. And Oregon is a team that has a lot of big people. And that was clearly a difference maker in this game, especially depth-wise. You know, this has been a problem for the Sun Devils all year. They have no depth at the offensive line from injuries, from now transfers or decommitting. It's just been a mess at that position, and it showed again tonight against a very solid defensive front that has championship aspirations. And again, wanted to make a statement.
Kenny said, you know, you go into the locker room at halftime, down 40-plus points. What's the message to your team at that point to keep them in the game? And he said he challenged the guys to go out there and win the second half. And I would argue that they really stepped it up defensively all around, a much more solid performance in the second half. I believe they held Oregon to 7 points. I like what I saw in the second half there from ASU.
I agree. You know, winning the second half was crucial, and they did that for their coach. They executed a little bit better offensively. They were able to find some rhythm with some Jalen Conyers quarterback play. He found some running lanes, just some wild stuff, quite frankly. And it worked out, you know. The Sun Devils were able to get 13 points on the board. Were they a pretty 13 points? No. But I know Coach Dillingham has said he doesn't believe in moral victories, but winning that second half, going into the Territorial Cup, has to feel like a moral victory in a lot of ways for the Sun Devils, and one that they really needed tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great transition, I think, to our final point. One game left in the season, and the game that at the end of the year, every year for the ASU, is their most looked forward to. And Jalen Conyer said in his post-game presser, their goal is to go 1-0 next week. They play U of A, a team that's really been flying under the radar and developing quickly this year. Jed Fish has really turned that program around fairly quickly with a couple of talented guys. I mean, you look at Teteroa McMillan at the wide receiver position, Noah Fafita, who came in early in the year and took over that quarterback position. And so it's going to be a tough challenge for ASU, but what do you think they need to work on, and what are you expecting to see from them in that final game of the season?
For me, it starts with getting to the quarterback. That was a major issue for the Sun Devils tonight. They just could not create any pressure, and a lot of that goes back to Dillingham's point about big people. Oregon has a massive offensive line. They've mashed people with it all year, and I don't think Arizona's going to have that advantage. So you have to put some pressure on the quarterback from Southern California, Noah Fafita. You just have to if you're Arizona State. That's where the game will be won and lost. On the defensive end next week, the Sun Devils must bounce back. And that starts with guys like BJ Green, Deshaun Mallory, just getting to the quarterback. That's the key.
Well, one more game left in this Sun Devil football season, and it'll be exciting to see how it goes. I know we'll have a great team out here covering it for Inferno Intel. And in the meantime, please check out our written content. You want to stay up to date, infernointelmedia.com, our social medias at Inferno Intel. And for Tucker Sennett, I'm Paul Schultz. Thanks for joining us tonight on the Inferno Intel postgame show.